Jake Morrison wiped sweat from his forehead as he crawled out from under the broken air recycler. The machine had been making strange noises for 3 days, and fixing it was just another item on his endless list of repairs. Being the main technician on a deep space research ship meant something was always breaking down. The ship Horizon's Edge had been traveling through empty space for 2 months now. They were exploring the Kepler 442 system, looking for planets that might support life. Jake didn't care much about the science part. He just wanted to keep the ship running so everyone could go home safely. He was cleaning his tools when the ship's alarm started blaring. Red lights flashed in the hallway and Jake could hear people running on the deck above him. Captain Lisa Howard's voice came over the speaker system. "All crew to stations. We have detected an unknown object. This is not a drill." Jake grabbed his tool bag and headed for the bridge. He wasn't required to be there during alerts, but he was curious. In 2 years of space travel, they had never found anything more exciting than rocks and ice. The bridge was buzzing with activity. Officers stared at their screens while Captain Howard stood in the center, looking calm despite the chaos around her. Jake slipped in quietly and stood near the back wall. "What do we have?" Captain Howard asked. Lieutenant Amy Ross, the ship's science officer, looked up from her station. "It's a ship, Captain, but not like anything in our databases. It's about 3 times the size of ours, and the metal looks strange. It's not reflecting light the way normal metal should." Jake pushed forward to get a better look at the main screen. What he saw made his breath catch in his throat. The ship floating in space looked nothing like the blocky human vessels he was used to. This one was smooth and curved, almost like it had grown instead of being built. The hull seemed to shift colors as he watched, going from silver to blue to deep purple. "Any signs of life?" the captain asked. "No energy readings, no radio signals, nothing. It appears to be dead in space," Ross replied. Commander Alex Turner, the ship's military officer, stepped forward. "Could be a trap. We should keep our distance." "Captain." Howard studied the image for a long moment. Jake could see her weighing the risks against the opportunity. This was the kind of discovery that could change everything for humanity. "We're going aboard," she finally decided. "Turner, prepare a boarding team. Take Ross for science analysis and Morrison for technical support." Jake's heart jumped. He had never been on a boarding mission before. His job was usually to fix things after other people broke them. "Captain, are you sure about Morrison?" Turner asked, glancing back at Jake. "He's never done external operations. He knows our systems better than anyone. If that ship has technology we can understand, I want our best technician looking at it." An hour later, Jake found himself squeezed into a spacesuit, floating in the shuttle bay with Turner and Ross. His hands were shaking as he checked his tools for the 3rd time. Turner had given him a quick lesson on zero-gravity movement, but Jake still felt clumsy in the bulky suit. The shuttle carried them across the empty space between the 2 ships. As they got closer, Jake could see that the alien vessel was even stranger than it appeared on the screen. Patterns were carved into the hull, geometric designs that seemed to pulse with a faint inner light. There were no visible weapons or engines, nothing that looked familiar. "There." Ross pointed to what looked like an airlock. "That might be an entrance." Turner guided the shuttle to dock with the alien ship. The airlock systems were different from human technology, but after some experimentation, they managed to create a seal. The alien ship's atmosphere was breathable, which surprised everyone. They floated through corridors that curved in impossible ways. The walls were covered with the same shifting metal as the hull, and soft light seemed to come from everywhere at once. Jake ran his scanner over the surfaces, but the readings made no sense. "The technology is completely different from ours," he whispered into his radio. "But somehow I feel like I understand parts of it." They followed the main corridor deeper into the ship. Jake noticed that his tools were reacting strangely. His magnetic screwdriver was pulling toward certain wall panels, and his electrical tester was giving readings, even though he wasn't touching anything. The corridor opened into a vast chamber that took Jake's breath away. The ceiling stretched up so high it disappeared into shadows. In the center of the room stood a figure that made Jake's heart race. It was clearly not human, but it had 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head like a person. The figure was about 9 feet tall and covered in what looked like armor made from the same, shifting metal as the ship. But this wasn't just armor. Jake could see that technology was built into the being's body. Cables and circuits were visible under the translucent parts of the armor, and a soft blue light pulsed where a human heart would be. The figure stood perfectly still, its eyes closed. Around it, banks of strange machinery hummed quietly. "Is it alive?" Turner asked, raising his weapon. Ross was scanning with her instruments. "I'm reading life signs, but they're very weak. It's like it's sleeping, but not normal sleep. More like the hibernation some animals do." Jake found himself walking closer to the figure. Something about it drew him in. He could see that the machinery around it was failing. Lights that should be bright were dim, and some panels showed what looked like error messages in alien writing. "Jake, stay back," Turner ordered. But Jake was already studying the nearest control panel. The symbols were strange, but the underlying logic was somehow familiar. It reminded him of the quantum computers back on Earth, but far more advanced. "I think it's dying," Jake said quietly. "The systems that keep it alive are breaking down." "We need to get back to the ship and report this," Turner decided. "This is beyond what we can handle." As they prepared to leave, Jake took one last look at the sleeping figure. For just a moment he thought he saw its eyes flicker, as if it knew they were there. Then Turner was pulling him away, back through the curving corridors to their shuttle. During the flight back to Horizon's Edge, Jake couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen. The alien ship was failing, but he was sure he could fix it. The technology was different, but not impossible to understand. And something deep inside told him that the sleeping figure was important, not just to them, but to all of humanity. He just didn't know how important it would turn out to be. Jake couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the alien figure standing in that huge chamber. The way the machines around it flickered and dimmed haunted him. He had spent his whole life fixing broken things, and everything in him screamed that he could help. At 3 a.m, Jake gave up on sleep. He quietly gathered his tools and made his way to the shuttle bay. The night shift was minimal, and he knew the security patterns well enough to avoid the guards. Getting back to the alien ship without permission was against every rule, but Jake had to try. The shuttle ride felt longer this time. Jake's hands trembled as he piloted the small craft across the dark space between ships. When he docked with the alien vessel, he half expected alarms to go off, but everything remained silent. The corridors seemed different at night. The soft lights pulsed more slowly, like a heartbeat that was getting weaker. Jake made his way back to the central chamber, his footsteps echoing in the empty halls. The alien figure stood exactly as they had left it. Jake approached slowly, studying the machinery with fresh eyes. Now that he wasn't rushed, he could see patterns in the technology that he had missed before. The power systems were fascinating. They worked on principles similar to human fusion reactors, but used some kind of exotic matter that Jake didn't recognize. The energy flowed through crystalline conduits that ran throughout the being's body like a circulatory system. Jake pulled out his scanner and began taking detailed readings. The main power core was operating at only 15% capacity. Several backup systems had already failed completely. At this rate, the figure would die within days. But Jake could see solutions. The alien technology was advanced, but it followed logical patterns. Where human engineers might use copper wiring, these beings used some kind of superconducting crystal. Where humans used computer chips, they used organic neural networks that could repair themselves. Jake started with the smallest problems first. A relay that controlled atmospheric systems had burned out. He couldn't replace it with human technology, but he could bypass it using his portable fusion battery and some creative wiring. It took 2 hours of careful work, but suddenly the air in the chamber became fresher and warmer. The alien ship seemed to notice the repair. Lights that had been dim began to glow brighter. Panels that had been dark started showing symbols that pulsed in steady rhythms. Encouraged, Jake moved to the next problem. A cooling system for the main power core had 3 broken connections. Jake used components from his toolkit to create new pathways for the coolant. It wasn't a perfect fix, but it worked. As Jake worked, strange things began happening around him. The chamber's lighting adjusted itself to help him see better. Tools that he dropped seemed to stick to his hands more easily, as if the ship was trying to help him. Most surprisingly, the alien symbols on the control panels began to make sense. Not completely, but enough that he could tell what each system was supposed to do. By morning, Jake had fixed 7 different problems. The alien figure's chest now pulsed with a steady blue light instead of the weak flicker it had shown before. The machinery around it hummed more confidently, and Jake could feel that the entire ship was more alive than when he had arrived. Jake was preparing to leave when he heard voices in the corridor. Commander Turner's angry shouts echoed through the ship as he searched for Jake. "Morrison, I know you're in here. Get out here right now." Jake quickly packed his tools and tried to look innocent as Turner stormed into the chamber with 2 security guards. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Turner demanded. "You violated direct orders. You could have been killed." "I was just trying to help," Jake said quietly. "The systems were failing. I could fix them." Turner looked around the chamber and his anger faded to confusion. The room was clearly different from the day before. Brighter, more active, more alive. "You actually fixed some of it?" Turner asked. Before Jake could answer, Dr. Ross arrived with a team of scientists. She immediately began scanning the alien figure with her instruments. "This is incredible," she said, staring at her readings. "The entity's life signs are much stronger than yesterday." "Jake, what did you do?" Jake explained his repairs as simply as he could. He showed them the bypass systems and jury-rigged connections. Most of it was beyond their understanding, but they could see that it worked. "We need to inform the captain immediately," Turner said. But his voice had lost its angry edge. This could change everything. Captain Howard arrived an hour later, with half the senior staff. She listened carefully as Jake explained what he had discovered and what he had accomplished. "Can you do more?" she asked. Jake nodded. "The main power core is still failing, but I think I can stabilize it if I can get some components from our ship. The fusion reactor principles are similar to ours, just much more advanced." "This is dangerous," Turner warned. "We don't know what might happen if we wake this thing up." Dr. Ross disagreed. "This could be the greatest discovery in human history. We have to try." Captain Howard was quiet for a long moment, weighing the risks against the potential benefits. Finally, she made her decision. "Morrison, you have permission to continue your work, but you'll do it under supervision. Turner, assign a security team. Ross, monitor everything. If anything goes wrong, we abort immediately." Jake felt a surge of excitement mixed with terror. He was about to attempt something that could either save the alien being or destroy them all. Over the next 2 days, Jake worked around the clock. He cannibalized parts from the horizon's edge, using human fusion components to replace alien systems that had failed. He rewired power distribution networks and created new cooling systems using materials from both ships. The work was exhausting and dangerous. Several times, power surges nearly killed him. Once, a feedback loop in the alien systems knocked him unconscious for 10 minutes, but each repair brought the being closer to full health. On the 3rd day, Jake made his final connection. He had built a hybrid power core that combined human and alien technology in ways that shouldn't have worked according to any known physics. But as he activated the system, power flowed smoothly through the crystalline networks. The alien figure's eyes suddenly opened, glowing with an inner light that seemed to look directly into Jake's soul. The repair was complete, but Jake's real adventure was just beginning. The alien's eyes were like looking into deep space filled with stars. Jake stumbled backward, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. The being didn't move its body, but Jake felt something touch his mind, not roughly, but gently, like a whisper in his thoughts. "Do not fear, small one," a voice said inside Jake's head. The words came with images and feelings that helped him understand. "I am Keeper Zonvel. You have given me life again." The other humans in the chamber were frozen with shock. Captain Howard had her hand on her weapon, but she didn't draw it. Dr. Ross was frantically checking her instruments, trying to record everything that was happening. Jake found his courage and stepped forward. "Can you understand us? Can you speak our language?" The being's head tilted slightly. Around the chamber, holographic displays suddenly appeared in the air. They showed star maps, alien symbols, and images that looked like historical records. I learn quickly, Zonvel said, this time speaking out loud in perfect English. Your language flows through the machines you use to repair me. I see your thoughts, your memories, your intentions. You are called Jake Morrison. How do you know that? Jake asked. When you connected your technology to mine, we became linked. I know you are a fixer of broken things. I know you work with your hands and think with your heart. I know you came back alone because you could not bear to watch me die. Dr. Ross stepped forward carefully. What are you? Where do you come from? The holographic displays changed, showing images of a great civilization that spanned many star systems, cities that floated in space, beings of different shapes and sizes working together, technologies that seemed like magic. I am one of the last keepers of the architects, Zonvel explained. My people seeded the galaxy with guardians like me many thousands of your years ago. We watched over younger species, guiding them when they reached certain levels of growth. What happened to your people? Captain Howard asked. The holograms shifted to show images of war. Dark ships attacking peaceful worlds, planets burning, civilizations falling. Many threats arose over time. Some we stopped, others we could not. My people made the ultimate sacrifice to protect the galaxy. They gave their lives to contain an ancient evil that would have consumed all life. Only the keepers remained, scattered across space to continue our watch. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. How long have you been sleeping? 53,412 of your years, Zonvel replied. My ship was damaged in the final battle. I entered deep sleep to preserve my life, waiting for one who could wake me. Commander Turner had been quiet, but now he spoke. Why didn't you just repair yourself? I could not. The damage was too severe, and I lack the creative thinking needed for such repairs. Only a species with the right combination of technical skill and innovative thought could awaken me. Your people have both. The alien turned its glowing gaze back to Jake. But it is not just any human who could do this work. It required someone with the gift of understanding, someone who sees connections others miss. You, Jake Morrison, are such a person. Jake felt uncomfortable under the intense stare. Anyone could have done it, I just got lucky. No, Zonvel said firmly. In all my years of sleep, many beings found my ship. None could help me. A few tried, but they lacked the intuitive understanding you possess. You did not just fix broken parts. You understood what I needed and created solutions that bridged the gap between our technologies. The holographic displays changed again, showing technical diagrams of the repairs Jake had made. Even Jake was amazed to see how complex his work had been. This is why I must make you an offer, Zonvel continued. According to the ancient laws of my people, when a keeper is awakened by a member of a younger species, that individual becomes bonded to the keeper. They become partners in protecting the galaxy. What does that mean? Jake asked nervously. I would share my knowledge with you. The locations of ancient technologies, star charts showing safe paths through dangerous regions, warnings about threats that your people are not yet aware of. In return, you would help me continue my mission. Captain Howard stepped forward. What kind of threats are we talking about? Zonvel's expression grew serious. The same darkness that destroyed my people still exists in the far reaches of space. It sleeps now, but it will wake eventually. When it does, all life in the galaxy will need defenders. And you want Jake to be one of these defenders? Doctor, Ross asked. I offer him the choice, but know this, accepting the bond would change him. He would gain abilities beyond normal humans, knowledge that spans millennia, and responsibilities that would last for centuries. He would still be human, but enhanced. Jake's mind reeled. Just days ago, his biggest worry was fixing a broken air recycler. Now an ancient alien was offering to make him some kind of cosmic guardian. I need time to think, Jake said. Of course, but time may not be something we have much of, Zonvel replied. My awakening has sent signals across space. Other keepers will know I live again, but so will our enemies. As if summoned by his words, alarms began blaring throughout the alien ship. The holographic displays showed space around them, and Jake's blood turned cold. Ships were approaching. Dozens of them, dark and angular, moving with deadly purpose toward their location. "The Devourers," Zonvel said, his voice filled with ancient hatred. "They hunt the remaining keepers. They have found us." Captain Howard was already speaking, into her radio, calling for the horizon's edge to prepare for battle. But Jake could see from the displays that their human ship was no match for what was coming. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. "Perhaps 1 hour before they arrive in weapon range," Zonvel replied. "My ship has defenses, but I cannot operate them at full power without a bonded partner." Jake looked around at his crewmates, at the people who had become his family during their long journey through space. Then he looked back at Zonvel, at the ancient being who had waited 50,000 years for someone to wake him up. The choice was no longer about Jake's future. It was about whether his friends would live or die. "What do I have to do?" Jake asked. Jake didn't hesitate. "Tell me what to do." Zonvel gestured toward a crystalline platform in the center of the chamber. "Stand there. The bonding process will connect your mind to mine and integrate your body with our technology. I must warn you. It will be painful." "How painful?" Jake asked, stepping onto the platform. "Like being torn apart and rebuilt," Zonvel replied honestly. "Some do not survive, but you have the strength. I can feel it in you." Captain Howard grabbed Jake's arm. "You don't have to do this. We can try to run." Jake looked at her, then at Dr. Ross and Commander Turner. These people had trusted him, worked with him, become his friends. The horizon's edge was no match for a fleet of alien warships. "No," Jake said firmly. "I won't let you die because I was too scared to act." The platform began to glow beneath Jake's feet. Zonvel raised his hands and energy flowed between them like lightning. The alien technology throughout the chamber hummed with increasing power. "Begin the bonding protocol," Zonvel commanded the ship's systems. Pain hit Jake like a hammer. Every nerve in his body screamed at once. He felt like electricity was flowing through his veins, rewriting him from the inside out. His vision blurred and he could barely stay standing. But through the pain, Jake felt something incredible happening. Knowledge flowed into his mind. Not just information, but understanding. He could suddenly see how the alien ship's systems worked, how energy flowed through the crystalline networks, how the weapons and shields operated. His body was changing too. He could feel alien technology merging with his cells, enhancing his strength and reflexes. His eyes began to see new spectrums of light. His hearing picked up sounds he had never noticed before. The worst part was when the technology reached his brain. For a moment, Jake thought he would lose himself completely. His memories mixed with alien knowledge, and he couldn't tell where Jake Morrison ended and the Keeper technology began. Then, suddenly, it was over. Jake collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. But he was still himself, enhanced, changed, but still the same maintenance technician who loved fixing broken things. "How do you feel?" Zonvel asked. Jake stood up slowly, amazed at how strong he felt. "Different, but still me." "Good. The bonding has succeeded. You are now my partner, Jake Morrison. Together, we can operate this ship at full capacity." The holographic displays showed the approaching Devourer fleet more clearly now. 30 ships, each one bristling with weapons. They were sleek and black, designed for one purpose: destruction. "Can we beat them?" Jake asked. "Perhaps. But first, we must get your friends to safety." Jake turned to Captain Howard. "Get back to your ship. Take everyone and run as fast as you can." "We're not leaving you," she protested. "You have to," Jake said. He could feel the alien ship systems responding to his thoughts now. "I can handle this, but I need to know you're safe." Commander Turner stepped forward. "The kid's right, we'll just be in the way." It took precious minutes to convince the crew to leave, but finally they were gone. Jake watched their shuttle disappear toward the horizon's edge, then turned his attention to the approaching enemy. "Show me how to fight," Jake said to Zonvel. The alien placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. And suddenly, Jake understood everything. The ship's weapons, its shields, its engines, all of it made perfect sense. He could control the vessel as easily as he once controlled his repair tools. The Devourer ships opened fire while they were still far away. Beams of dark energy lanced through space toward them. Jake raised the shields without thinking, his enhanced reflexes moving faster than human thought. The first barrage struck the shields and scattered harmlessly. Jake felt the ship's systems respond to his will, power flowing exactly where he needed it. Impressive, Zonvel said. Most new partners require years of training to achieve such control. Jake didn't answer. He was too busy dodging the next attack. The Devourer ships had spread out, trying to surround them, but Jake could see their pattern, predict their movements. He fired back with the ship's main weapons. Beams of pure energy reached out across space, striking 2 Devourer ships. They exploded in brilliant flashes, but the rest kept coming. The battle became a deadly dance. Jake spun the ship through impossible maneuvers, using the enhanced engines to dodge attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. His human creativity combined with alien technology in ways that surprised even Zonvel. "You fight like no keeper I have ever known," the alien said with what might have been admiration. Jake destroyed 3 more ships with a combination attack he invented on the spot. But there were still too many of them, and they were learning his patterns. A lucky shot got through his shields and struck the ship's hull. Alarms blared as systems began failing. Jake could feel the damage like a physical wound. "We cannot defeat them all," Zonvel admitted. "There are too many." But Jake had an idea. A crazy, dangerous idea that might just work. "Can this ship ram through their formation?" he asked. "Yes, but the damage would be severe. We might not survive." Jake smiled grimly. "Then we better make sure we take as many of them with us as possible." He pushed the engines to maximum power and aimed directly at the center of the Devourer fleet. At the last second, he fired every weapon the ship had while overloading the shield generators. The roaring explosion when they hit was visible from light years away. 7 Devourer ships were destroyed instantly, and the rest were damaged and scattered. Jake's ship limped away from the battlefield, systems failing throughout the vessel. But they had won. The surviving Devourers retreated into deep space too, damaged to continue the fight. "That was either brilliant or insane," Zonvel said as they assessed the damage. "Probably both," Jake admitted. He felt exhausted but victorious. "Is it always going to be like this?" "This was just the beginning," Zonvel replied. "But I believe we will make a good team." Jake looked out at the stars and realized his life as a simple maintenance technician was over forever. He was something new now, something more, and the galaxy was counting on him to protect it. 3 days after the battle, Jake sat in the repaired control room of the alien ship, staring at star charts that showed the entire galaxy. His body had finished adapting to the changes, and he no longer felt the constant ache that had followed the bonding. He was stronger now, faster, and his mind could process information at incredible speeds, but he was still Jake Morrison. "You are troubled," Zonvel observed. The ancient being had become easier to understand as their bond strengthened. Jake could sense his thoughts and emotions now, just as Zonvel could sense his. "I keep thinking about what you said, about threats in the galaxy that humanity isn't ready for," Jake replied. "Should I tell them everything? Should I keep it secret?" "That choice is yours to make. I can only offer guidance." Jake turned to look at his alien partner. "What would you do?" "My people faced the same decision long ago. We chose to guide younger species slowly, letting them discover truth gradually. But perhaps that was a mistake. Perhaps if we had shared our knowledge freely, more civilizations would have survived the Great War." The communication system chimed, and Captain Howard's face appeared on the holographic display. The horizon's edge had remained nearby while Jake recovered and the crew had been helping with repairs to the alien ship. "Jake, we need to talk," the captain said. "The government wants a full report on everything that happened here. They're sending a fleet to investigate." Jake sighed. He had been expecting this. How long do we have? 2 weeks, maybe 3. What do you want me to tell them? Jake was quiet for a moment, thinking about all the knowledge now stored in his enhanced mind. Star maps showing safe routes through dangerous space. The locations of ancient technologies that could advance human civilization by thousands of years. Warnings about cosmic threats that slept in the dark between galaxies. Tell them the truth, Jake decided, but not all of it, not yet. An hour later, Jake met with the senior crew of the Horizon's Edge in the alien ship's main chamber. Dr. Ross had been studying recordings of everything that had happened, while Commander Turner had been analyzing the tactical implications of the new technology. The question is what happens next, Captain Howard said. You're not exactly human anymore, Jake. And this ship contains technology that could change everything for our species. Jake nodded. I've been thinking about that. I can't go back to my old life. Too much has changed, but I don't want to abandon humanity either. What are you proposing? Dr. Ross asked. A partnership between humans and whatever I am now. I'll share what I can when I think humanity is ready for it. In return, I need people I can trust to help me. Turner leaned forward. Help you do what? Jake gestured to the star charts floating in the air around them. There are other Guardians out there. Some are sleeping like Zonvel was. Others might be awake but alone. And the Devourers aren't the only threat. There are things in deep space that make yesterday's battle look like a playground fight. You're talking about leaving Earth, Captain, Howard said. Not forever. But yes, I need to travel to places humans have never been. I need to wake the other Guardians and prepare defenses against threats that are coming whether we're ready or not. Dr. Ross was studying her tablet, making notes. What kind of timeline are we talking about? Years? Decades? Centuries, Jake admitted. The bonding process has extended my lifespan significantly. I'll live long enough to see humanity grow into a spacefaring civilization, if I can keep them safe that long. The room was quiet as everyone absorbed the implications. Jake was talking about dedicating his entire extended life to protecting humanity. You don't have to do this alone, Captain, Howard finally said. Some of us could come with you, help you build whatever organization you're planning. Jake felt a surge of gratitude. It would be dangerous. Once we start waking other Guardians and hunting cosmic threats, there's no going back to a normal life. Normal life is overrated, Turner said with a slight smile. Besides, somebody needs to keep you from getting too alien. Over the next week, they planned what would become known as the Guardian Initiative. Jake would work publicly with Earth's governments, sharing basic technologies that could help humanity expand safely into space. But secretly, he would build a network of agents and allies who could help him protect Earth from threats it wasn't ready to face. The alien ship became their mobile headquarters. Jake learned to use its advanced manufacturing systems to create new technologies that bridged human and alien science. He designed better engines for human ships, improved shield generators and weapons that could defend against threats like the Devourers. When the government fleet arrived, Jake was ready for them. He met with admirals and scientists, demonstrating carefully chosen technologies and sharing edited versions of what he had learned. He told them about the ancient civilization that had once protected the galaxy, but left out details about the cosmic threats that still existed. Most importantly, he convinced them that humanity needed to expand carefully and peacefully. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but also dangers that required wisdom and preparation to face. Captain Howard and her crew became the first official members of the Guardian Initiative. Dr. Ross established research protocols for studying alien technology safely. Commander Turner created training programs for future Guardian agents. Even the regular crew members found new roles in the growing organization. 6 months later, Jake stood on the bridge of his transformed ship, watching Earth grow smaller through the viewport. They were heading for the coordinates of another sleeping Guardian, somewhere in the Andromeda sector. Do you think we're doing the right thing? He asked Zonvel. Time will tell, but I believe your people have something my people lacked. What's that? Hope. and the ability to find solutions where others see only problems. You proved that when you repaired me with primitive tools and creative thinking. Jake smiled as the stars shifted around them, the ship's advanced engines carrying them toward their next mission. He was no longer the simple maintenance technician who had fixed a broken air recycler. He was something new, something more. But at his core, he was still someone who couldn't stand to see broken things stay broken. The galaxy was full of broken things that needed fixing, and Jake Morrison was just getting started.